Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be reading books that I have been putting off for far too long. It was okay. It was okay. Someone should have yelled at me, screamed at me to pick up this book. All of these books I think I have mentioned here and there in different videos. However, we're finally tackling them. I'm getting them off my TBR cart one by one. And these books are either books that I've pushed off because they don't interest me as much anymore, or I'm worried that I'm not going to like it as much as other people. All of the above. There's several different reasons, and I'm sure in each book I'll talk about specifically why I've been putting it off. However, two things to note. One, I'm on my phone just because I didn't want to go downstairs to go get my camera. So we're filming this on my phone, and the next few clips will probably be on my camera. But two, if you have not, please like and subscribe down below. That way you don't miss any more of my videos. And we're actually going to flash back to this past weekend because over the weekend I started The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This was a book that I have been putting off for way too long, and after reading it, tell me why. I absolutely enjoyed this. So let's go back to those few clips and then we'll talk about this book a little bit. I started it in audiobook and then I actually finished it before I even got back on Sunday. So I finished it in audiobook as well. We'll talk all about that. I think I only have a few clips of me reading it or bringing it around. We'll see. The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes is a series that came out, I would say, a little while ago, and I heard incredible reviews about all of these books. It is a young adult kind of mystery thriller. So this book follows Cassie. She is 17 years old, so all of the kids in here are 17. They're kind of younger, and she is basically recruited to help solve cold cases because she has such a knack or ability to be able to read people and tell you like basically their whole life just by looking at them, which I think is so cool. And then she meets a few other characters. Some of them are really good numerically, so being able to tell patterns, being able to tell if someone is lying or not. So they each have these own kind of abilities that they're just really good at, and it's like a mystery. So I really enjoyed it, and maybe I just did not understand the concept of this book, but once I started it, I was like, why did I not start it sooner? I read it so fast. I actually almost picked up the second book when we were in Barnes the day after I started it. And so actually the day I started it, and I didn't, just because I was like, I don't need a new book. But I'm definitely going to be continuing the series. I absolutely love this book, and I'm so glad I read it and didn't keep putting it off. I'll give you my ending rating towards the end of this video, but right now I'm loving it. The next book that I actually started this morning because I had a dentist appointment, so I was in the car for about an hour and still kind of hurting. But anyway, I started Red Queen by Victoria Avantgarde. I have had this book for maybe like going on 2 years now, a year and a half-ish. I know I got it for Christmas, but I think I got it 2 Christmases ago, so very long. It intrigued me because it's a fantasy. This was a book that was very popular when I was young, like on the original BookTube kind of community, and people talked about this book a lot. It was mentioned several times, and I remember hearing about it. So I got it for Christmas, and it just went on the shelf, and it just kept going lower and lower on the shelf. I just was not getting to it. I don't know what it was. I think because it's a young adult fantasy, I'm just more into the adult, into the romance fiction now. So it just wasn't something that was catching my eye, but I knew I wanted to read. And I started it this morning. I am on chapter I am on page 117, chapter 12. So I'm not too far into it, but I am enjoying it. We're actually gonna go sit outside and read this for a little bit. And then we have more books that I'm going to be talking about and reading in this video, which I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy. Let's continue this video and keep reading. Hey, watch the tongue, mister. I am in the garage babysitting because it was raining, so it's all wet outside, so he was playing with chalk in here. I'm currently reading Red Queen by Victoria Avantgarde. I'm on page 126, chapter 13, so not too far into the book, but a good amount to know, bless you, baby, the main characters' kind of personality, some of the side characters. However, I thought I knew who the love interest was going to be, and then it was different. So I don't know if it's going to be a like love triangle or what exactly, but I'm getting a good sense of it. I really didn't know what to expect going into it. I had read the synopsis not too long ago, but of course that went like right out my brain. So I'm just gonna read. I'm babysitting. It's hectic. I already worked out, so this is all I have left tonight. We're gonna read and we're gonna enjoy it. So let's do that right now. I wanted to come on here and just mention that I am a little confused who are like male main character or like male love interest is. I thought it was obvious, but then the more the story goes on, I feel like I'm so confused, and I don't know if it's a love triangle. I don't know if I'm just like looking too far into it or like hoping it's something that it isn't, but I'm so confused. Another thing, I feel like these chapters are so incredibly long. It's making it hard to get through the book because each chapter is like, I don't even know, like 10, 15 pages long, like really, really long. And so I'm on chapter 17 right now. I'm almost done, but I just felt like I needed to come on here and say that because Mare, I love kind of her character development and like her powers and stuff. I like seeing that. I think it's very, very interesting, and seeing like the dynamic between her and Evangeline, kind of that whole group of people. But with that being said, I feel like there's not a lot going on right now that's making it fast-paced or high stakes. There's been like a few moments where it's like, oh no, that might end badly, but then it's like solved within the next 2 minutes. So that's where I'm at. I still have an hour longer, so I'm just gonna keep listening and I'll give an update if I have. I finished Red Queen by Victoria Avantgarde on my way home a few hours ago. I had been slowly getting through the book this weekend. It's just hard because on the weekends we're usually doing things, so I don't have a ton of time to sit down and read. However, I was able to get a few chapters and then I finished it through audiobook driving home, and honestly, it was okay. It was okay. I had mentioned on my way over to my boyfriend's that I was a little confused with the romance aspect, and I felt like it kept getting confusing. Maybe it was just me. I just couldn't follow the entire time. I also feel like this was very slow paced. Was that just me? I don't know. I felt like it took a lot for me to get through this book for some reason. It seems like a book that I would have ate up years ago, but maybe just because it's a young adult fantasy and like where I'm at in my reading journey so far, it just wasn't interesting me as much as I wanted it to. It wasn't bad. There was definitely a plot twist at the end, and I could kind of see it coming, but then I wasn't like expecting it. It was just like, once it happened, I was like, oh yeah, I could totally see that happening. It did leave on a cliffhanger big enough that I do want to know what happens, primarily for the romance part of it, if I'm being honest. However, the plot line, it was there, but I felt like it got a little muddled, or it kind of had lulls throughout the book that I just either wasn't interested, or it just felt so slow, and that could have been the chapter size. It's hard to say, but I did finish it, and I will save my rating for the end. However, I am going to pick up Book Lovers by Emily Henry next, and I'm so excited to start this book. I was kind of putting it off, but it was more because I know I want to annotate it, and I didn't want to listen to it on audiobook because I want to have that ability to like dog ear, underline, give my full thoughts, because I do feel like hopefully I love this book. We'll find out, but we're gonna pick up this one next and we'll see how it goes. I imagine this won't take me too long to read, but we'll find out. Page 56, and honestly, I'm really enjoying it. I feel like it's going a little slow, but it's not a book thing, it's more of a me issue. However, I am loving the banter. Just within the first 3 chapters in prologue, I feel like I'm getting a good idea of the characters' personalities and how they act towards each other, which I'm really thoroughly enjoying. And I'm interested to see how it goes, and I love the book references or the descriptive ways that Emily Henry is putting book lover information into it. Does that make sense? As a book lover, I'm getting so many of these references and I love it. So that's my little update. I don't have anything specifically underlined or tabbed, primarily because we're still just getting into the book. I probably won't read until tomorrow, so I will see you then.
I got you.
You got me.
Look downstairs.
Yeah, you came down.
Upstairs, and we got up.
Yeah. Good morning.
Upstairs, you.
Good morning. Hey, should we blow your nose?
Nope.
You're getting really big for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi guys, it is the end of this video and we are going to be talking about the 3 books that were featured in today's video. I'm just going to give a few of my thoughts and definitely my ratings so you guys know, and then we'll move on to the next book and we'll just keep doing that. So the first book that I started in this video was The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It says, to catch a serial killer you have to think like one, and tell me why I have been putting this book off for so long. Someone should have yelled at me, screamed at me to pick up this book because I loved it. I was so attached within like the first 2 chapters just based on Cassie's ability to like read people. It reminded me of The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings because Georgia is like a professional body language person. That's her job, is to read people's body language and tell like what their emotions are. Cassie can read people and just like tell their life story, where they came from, who they are. And I just find that so fascinating. I wish I had that trait because I think it would be so cool. However, once it got to the serial killings and everything mystery, I wanted to be the one solving those cases. I was so interested in the storyline, in the plot, the relationships, the characters. Once it started getting weird at the end, the plot twist got to me too. I was just so shocked over and over and over again by how much I loved this book. And it is a young adult book. I would say it's like mystery too, maybe I'm wrong, but I know it's young adult. And I think that's why I was putting it off. This book had its moment. It definitely was talked about a while back, but I just never got to it. And so once I picked it up, I just kind of brushed it off. I'm always reading kind of the most popular books at the time, or books that just draw my eye. And this was a book I always looked at but never picked up. I would rate this book 4.5 stars. I ate it up. I almost bought the second book before I was even done with this book, and I told myself no, like that's a little ridiculous. So I will definitely continue to read the series. However, it's just not on my radar because I'm trying not to buy too many new books at the moment. So I'm putting it off, but it's definitely a series I will probably finish before the end of the year. Highly recommend. If you're even thinking about it, pick it up. It is so good. The next book that I picked up was Red Queen by Victoria Avantgarde. Another young adult novel, and another one I was putting off because of that reason. I remember when this was talked about way back in the day, 2015, so literally 10 years ago, and it was always a book that intrigued me because it's a fantasy book. I love fantasy, and there are 4 other books in this series which I'll get to, but this follows a girl named Mare Barrow, and there's 2 different kind of people, the people who have powers and abilities and then the people that don't. Mare grew up in a very poor area along with people who don't have those powers, and they were treated really poorly until she finds out maybe she's not ordinary and there's something kind of happening to her and those powers are starting to show. Now, I did mention a few times when I was listening to this book or reading this book that I was very confused with the relationship aspect, and I don't know if that was because of the plot twist at the end that's why it was so confusing for me, but it just was, and I think that brought this down a rating a little bit, along with the world felt a little underdeveloped. And it's not that it was a bad book, it's just not a book that I was blown away by or a book that I'm like itching to read the next one. It just didn't live up to those expectations, and yeah. So this book I would probably rate about a 3.5 to 4 stars, leaning more towards the lower just because I know other 4-star books and it's just better than this. So I don't want anyone to be discouraged from reading it. If you have this book, if you were thinking about reading it, you should definitely read it. It's good, and I wonder if like the next few books are higher rated, or maybe I would enjoy them better because I already have that foundation of the world and kind of that climactic cliffhanger moment that I do want to know what happens. It's just probably I'm not gonna find out anytime soon. So 3.5, maybe a 4 stars for Red Queen. And the last book that I read was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Another book checked off that I don't know why I was putting off. I definitely think the rating factor, as in there were a lot of people saying they loved this book and there were a lot of people saying they did not enjoy this book, so I was scared I was going to be a person that did not enjoy this book. I was wrong. I will say I have been so busy the last 2 weeks, and so reading has just not been something I've been doing a lot. So I felt as if this book didn't get the moment it deserved because of that. And it did take me a little while to get into. I was just kind of picking it up, putting it down, picking it up, putting it down. But I think that was more of a me thing than the book itself. I loved the characters. Nora and Charlie's chemistry and their banter, I lived for it. I absolutely adored that. Charlie as a character, as a male character, is so sweet and definitely one of my favorite male characters I would say that I've read, just with how authentic and genuine he is. Now, if you love books, you are gonna love this one because there are so many book references or storyline, plotline references in here that I was just like smiling, and I totally understood and could relate to. I annotated, so I underlined, I dog-eared like a few pages that I just felt like, yep, this deserves an underline, and I liked it so much. Now, it's not my favorite Emily Henry book. I'm rating it a 4.5. It's definitely not my top book, but it's for sure like top 3 or 4 that I've read by her. The only one that I have not read so far is People We Meet on Vacation. So I'm all caught up except for that one, and I definitely want to read it before the show comes out. I think it's a show. So that will be a very recent read. We'll see when. But Book Lovers, finally got it off my shelf, and I'm glad that I read it. I wish I would have read it sooner, but I also am glad that I waited and read it when I did. So 4.5. These were the 3 books that I read in this video, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a like. If you want to see another video like this, I can definitely do another one. There's always books I've been putting off for maybe like 5+ years now, so yeah. I can also maybe do a video showing those books, and you can tell me which ones I should keep and read and which ones I should get rid of, because it's just, the time has come and it's gone, and I just don't need them anymore. Anyway, thank you guys. Let me know your opinions on these books if you've read them, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.